Well, shooters and reloaders out there, Fortune Cookie 45LC coming to you from the hot lead zone, and there have been about 6 or 7 of you out there that have asked me if there's any benefits in powder coating our shotgun slugs. And I answered all of you that no, there's no need to do that, because after all, the slugs go inside these wads. And if the slug's inside the wad, there's no need to worry about protecting the slug from the barrel to lead the barrel, this kind of thing. So the powder coating's not necessary. Probably a waste of time. But sorry, I need to apologize to all of you out there, because I'm thinking that no, there might be some benefits after all. Let's go into some of the benefits that might be possible. When we powder coat our slug, we will add somewhere around 2 to 3 thousandths of an inch of diameter to the slug, because we'll add 1,000th to maybe 1,005 to the width of a slug on one side times 2. We might get as much as 3 thousandths more diameter, and that might make a big difference, because when it sits in the slug wad, there's a little play in there, and for that matter, we have a better fit down the barrel, because when we push this through our shotgun barrel, we have sometimes we get easy push. Well, suppose we increase by 3 thousandths and we get better fit in the barrel. That might improve our accuracy. And then if we have a rifled barrel, the traction of the powder coat being plastic against the plastic of the wad might give us a better traction, so that when the slug goes in our rifled barrel, it'll take the spin better. We will get better spin of our slug caused by the powder coating. So we really need to look into the possibilities of powder coating giving us advantages. So for the 6 or 7 of you that have asked about powder coating our slugs, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I don't think anyone has done any powder coating of slugs yet. So between Elvis Ammo and I, we're trying to give you all the different permutations of what powder coating can do to help our shooting. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I really appreciate what Elvis Ammo is doing over there on that site of his. If you've had a chance to go over there and visit his site recently, he's looked into the use of silicone instead of the wire mesh basket. And he found out that the silicone, the tray made of silicone, didn't really work well with the powder coating, because it caused flat spots on his bullets, and we don't want that. But they didn't stick. So why don't we try a variation on that, since Elvis Ammo's already done some work for us, and I'll add the powder coat to our slugs and put them base up like this on our silicone. Doesn't matter about getting the flat spots on the base of our slugs, so that should work out real well, and we'll get a nice coating of powder coat on our slug. And that doesn't take too much time, because it's so easy to put the slug base up because it's so big. Let's go ahead and do that. So for this project, we're going to go ahead and use our mix of Eastwood Ford Light Blue and Eastwood Vermilion, and we're going to sweeten it by adding about 25% of Harbor Freight Red. So let's go ahead and tumble that for about 15-20 minutes and see what kind of coating it is. In the meantime, we've got one of these silicone sheets that I went ahead and cut to fit the little solid tray that goes into our Black & Decker oven, toaster oven, that we're using to powder coat the bullets. I always wear a mask and my welding gloves when I'm handling and doing powder coating, because it keeps the powder off my hands and no chance breathing this stuff. So it's a good idea. Or not, but when the vibratory tumbler is working in there, the shotgun slugs are all spinning in there, and that spinning helps generate the static charges. that gets the powder to stick. One of the advantages of using the vibratory tumbler. So we need to grab the slug like this and tap it to get the powder out of the hollow base. And then we just simply set it on our silicone pad. As you see there, we'll go ahead and do a whole bunch of them. And nice to have the Harbor Freight tongs to do this. Now I'm not wearing my gloves right now because I'm working the camera also. So you see each slug has clumps on it, plus the hollow base is full of powder coat. So when you tap it, say about 5 times, you get the excess out of the hollow base and the clumps are gone. So we go ahead and just arrange it. So there's our tray of shotgun slugs with the powder coating on there. Into the oven we go with them. So there are our slugs, all powder coated, compared to one that isn't. That's a pretty nice job of powder coating, and that color is kind of like a purplish brown, and it has specks of blue in there. So shooters and reloaders out there, remember how we said that our revolvers are different animals compared to autoloaders and our rifles and this kind of thing? Well, it turns out that shotgun slugs are also different animals, because you take this slug and we go ahead and mic it, and we get 679.5. Now we go ahead and mic one that's powder coated, and incredibly 679. Let's do another one. 679. Let's do another one. 679.5, 680. Incredibly, we didn't add any thickness at all. But these are obviously coated. Amazing. Well, we can't have no thickness added because that's the reason why we're doing this, to add thickness. Well, with our pistol bullets and rifle bullets, we don't want to add a lot of thickness. We want thin there, but with shotgun slugs, they're different animals. We can definitely have thick here. So let's go ahead and do a second coat because we can do that. Well, we definitely wouldn't want to have to do second coats on our pistol bullets because we need lots of pistol bullets. But with our shotgun slugs, since we don't need that many of them, a second coat or even a third coat's not that big a problem. Let's go ahead and do the second coat. Now, one thing I found that could be a problem, and that is the tray of slugs gets very heavy. So you'll want to have a heavy wire grate there to support this thin metal tray. Because if you put the metal tray in there, it sags and falls off, and you got a big mess in there. Okay, 20 minutes, 400 degrees. We're doing the second coat. Okay, it gets dark fast. There's our oven. Let's take out the powder coated bullets. Notice there's no sticking to the silicone. And also, note what happens if we do not shake out the powder from the hollow base cavity. What happens is the powder coat melts and then it seals off the bottom of the base. See that? We're going to have to reject this one. This reject slug will be perfect to do our hammer test. So you see I hammered this powder coated slug flat, and I even mishit it a couple times to really see if I could get that to separate the powder coat from the lead. And look at that, it's bonded on there. Even that fin didn't come off, so that's a pretty tough coating. You see it's still on there. So guess what? The 3 on the left have the single coat, and the 3 on the right have the double coat. Not a whole lot of difference. Let's go ahead and measure them. So shooters and reloaders out there, sorry to report to you that powder coating a shotgun slug only adds about 1/1000th of an inch of coating. Even though that coating looks pretty good, the 2 coats added 2/1000ths. Well, that's worthwhile. So to give Elvis Ammo a little bit of feedback from what we got here, notice the uncoated slug, the texture of the base there, And notice the texture of the base of the coated slug. It may very well be that a very thin sheet of the silicone doesn't let the bullets sink into it like the thicker tray of silicone that Elvis used. So perhaps a thinner doesn't get the distortion of the powder coat. So we'll have to give that sheet a little bit more testing with regular bullets to see if we lay them on their side, we get distorted powder coat. But that is pretty good. Notice we have shades of the Harbor Freight red and shades of the Eastwood blue coming out of there in some places. It's a very interesting coating doing that mix. There's more of that blue, but it's a nice coating. And even in the single coated slug, you see some of the blue that comes through and some of the red that comes through. Very interesting.